the alien queen's missing daughter, returned holding two half-human. The people went about their daily lives, unaware that today would change everything. Deep in the heart of the palace, the alien queen, Zara, sat on her throne, staring at the empty seat beside her. For 20 years, her daughter, Liara, had been gone. The queen had always known that her child was adventurous, but this long absence worried her more than any enemy could. Liara had vanished during a journey to explore distant galaxies. She had promised to return, but years passed, and the queen's messages remained unanswered. Some believed Liara had perished among the stars. Others whispered that she had found another world and had chosen not to return. But the queen refused to believe any of it. She waited, as she always did, hoping that her daughter would come back to her. Suddenly, the sky above the palace shimmered. A strange, glowing light formed in the air above the central courtyard. Guards raised their weapons, ready to defend the palace. Courtiers and servants stopped in their tracks, staring in fear and awe. The light grew brighter, pulsing like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Then, in a sudden flash, the light disappeared. Standing in the courtyard was a figure the palace had longed to see for decades. Liara. She looked older, more mature than the last memory the queen had of her. Her dark hair fell past her shoulders, her eyes held the wisdom of many distant worlds, and her robes were made of fabrics that shimmered like the night sky. She looked tired, but there was strength in her posture, a quiet confidence that made the queen feel a mixture of relief and awe. But what made the entire court gasp was not Liara herself. It was what she was holding. Cradled in her arms were two small children, both with soft hair and wide, curious eyes. They looked human, not at all like the tall, slender Virelians. Their skin was warm and pink, their hands small and delicate. They clung to Liara, holding her fingers tightly, as if they had just discovered the meaning of safety. The queen rose from her throne, her voice shaking as she spoke. "Liara, is that truly you?" Liara bowed her head respectfully. "Yes, mother, it is me. I have returned." Her voice was calm, yet carried a weight of stories untold. She glanced down at the children. "And I bring these two, they need a home." A murmur ran through the court. Some gasped, some whispered among themselves, a few frowned. The idea of humans, creatures from another galaxy, within the palace walls was shocking. Virelians had always kept to themselves, proud of their culture and abilities. The introduction of outsiders, especially human children, was unheard of and controversial. The queen's heart ached as she looked at Liara. "Explain, why are they here?" Her voice was firm but not angry. Liara stepped forward, her gaze steady. "I found them on a distant planet. Their world is in danger and they have no one to care for them. I could not leave them behind. I could not ignore them." A court advisor, a tall Virelian with pale blue skin, narrowed his eyes. "Princess, you bring creatures from another planet into the royal palace. You know the laws, foreign species are not to mingle with Virelians." This is dangerous." Liara met his gaze without fear. "Dangerous perhaps, but necessary. They are children. They have done nothing to harm anyone. They only need safety and guidance. Can we deny them that?" The queen studied her daughter. She could see the strength in her words and the truth in her eyes. Liara had always been courageous, sometimes reckless, but always guided by her heart. The queen felt pride swelling within her. At the same time, she knew the court would not easily accept this. "Very well," the queen said finally. "They may stay, but under careful watch. They will be observed. The palace scientists will determine if their presence is safe for our people." Liara nodded. "I understand, mother, thank you." The children, who had been quiet until now, peeked over Liara's arms. One of them, a boy with dark hair and bright green eyes, looked around the courtyard with fascination. The other, a girl with golden curls, clutched Liara's robe, unsure of the strange new surroundings. The queen bent down slightly, her royal presence softening as she addressed them. "You are safe here," she said gently. "Do not fear, I am Queen Zara." The boy smiled faintly, and the girl hid behind Liara's robes. Liara knelt beside them. "They have seen much," she explained. "They are cautious, but they will adapt." The palace was abuzz with activity. Guards escorted Liara and the children to the private chambers, where they would rest and begin to adjust. Scientists arrived soon after, instruments in hand, scanning the children for signs of health and other abilities. Humans were a strange species to Virelians, and these children were especially unusual. They were young, yet something about them was different. As the scientists worked, Liara recounted her journey. She had traveled across galaxies, visiting planets destroyed by war, famine, and neglect. She had seen human worlds struggling to survive, with children left alone in harsh conditions. When she found these two, she could not turn away. She had carried them across star systems, evading dangers that would have terrified even the bravest Violians. The queen listened silently, her fingers drumming on the arm of her throne. "You risked much for them," she finally said. "But I see why. You have a good heart, Liara. Perhaps this is the start of something new." Outside the palace, citizens noticed unusual activity. Rumors spread quickly. Some were excited, believing that the princess had brought back wonders from distant worlds. Others were suspicious, fearing that humans could upset the balance of their society. The news traveled fast, and soon everyone in the city knew. The princess had returned, and she had brought humans with her. That evening, as the pale twin moons rose over Violia, Liara sat with the children in her chambers. They were nervous, unsure of what their new life would be like. Liara told them stories of her home planet, of the queen, and of the people they would come to know. She spoke of courage and kindness, of learning from one another, and of the hope that even in the darkest times there was light. The boy, whose name was Aaron, listened intently, his eyes wide. The girl, Liora, began to relax, leaning against Liara as she listened. For the first time in their lives, they felt safety, warmth, and a sense of belonging. Liara looked out the window toward the horizon. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "We have so much to learn from each other. And perhaps the humans can teach us as much as we can teach them." In that quiet moment, the palace seemed less like a place of rules and more like a home. The queen had returned her daughter, yes, but she had also inherited the responsibility of welcoming a new species. What the future held was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Change had arrived on Violia, and it came on the shoulders of two small children and the brave princess who refused to abandon them. The next morning, the queen summoned her council. She spoke firmly, yet with hope. "These children are under our protection. They are part of our family now, and we will teach our people to accept what they do not yet understand. For sometimes the greatest strength lies not in fear, but in the courage to embrace the unknown." As the sun rose higher, the city of Violia stirred with excitement and apprehension. Everyone felt it. The world was no longer the same. And somewhere in the stars, Liara knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but also incredible discoveries. For the first time in decades, she felt the pull of home, not just for herself, but for the children she now called her own. The palace doors closed behind her that evening, and the quiet settled once more. But the air was different. It was filled with possibility. And in the hearts of Liara, Aaron, and Liora, hope burned brighter than any star. Change had arrived, and it was only the beginning. The palace of Violia was never quiet for long. The next morning, the news of Liara's return and the presence of the two human children spread like wildfire. Citizens gathered near the palace gates, whispering and speculating. Some were excited, imagining stories of distant worlds and incredible adventures. Others were nervous, worried that the humans might bring unknown dangers. Inside the palace, the atmosphere was tense. The queen called for her top scientists and advisors to examine the children. These were not ordinary humans. Aaron and Liora were alive and healthy, but the scientists noticed unusual qualities immediately. Their senses were sharp, their reactions quick, and their minds seemed unusually clever for their age. One scientist, Elder Thalen, leaned over his instruments, adjusting the light sensors that measured the children's energy fields. "This is strange," he muttered. "Their bodies are human, yes, but their energy patterns, they are compatible with Violian biology." "It is remarkable." Liara stood nearby, watching quietly. She had expected curiosity, but she had not anticipated such amazement. "They are children," she said softly. "They are not weapons, not experiments. They only want to live." Elder Thalen looked up, frowning slightly. "Still, Princess, we must be careful. Anything that is part human and part Violian, or even compatible with us, could change the balance of our society. You understand the risks?" Liara nodded. "I understand, but I also believe they have much to offer. Humans think differently. They solve problems in ways we do not. They feel deeply. That can be a strength." Meanwhile, Aaron and Liora explored the palace carefully. The rooms were vast and filled with light. The walls shimmered with soft colors, and the floors reflected the sun in a way that made the children laugh. Leora touched a crystal vase and gasped as the light changed colors in her hand. "It's magic," she whispered. Liara smiled. "Not magic, science just like your world. But here it looks like magic to you. You will learn to see it differently soon." Aaron's eyes were on the tall palace doors. "Can we go outside?" he asked. He wanted to see the city, the people, the world that Liara had returned to. Liara shook her head gently. "Not yet. We must wait until it is safe. There are people who do not understand humans. They may be afraid." Fear was a strong force on Vyrlia. The Vyrlians had lived for centuries in a society based on order and control. Change was slow, and outsiders were viewed with caution. Now the presence of humans, small, fragile, and completely different, challenged everything they believed. Back in the council chambers, the queen spoke to her advisors. "Liara has done something brave," she said, "but we must act wisely. These children are not our enemy. They are a part of our family now. We will protect them, but we will also watch closely. The future of Vyrlia may depend on how we handle this moment." The council nodded, though not all were convinced. Some feared that these humans could bring more than curiosity. They could bring trouble. One counselor, Varen, spoke sharply. "Your Majesty, I understand the princess's kindness, but we cannot ignore the risk. These creatures could carry diseases, ideas, or alliances we do not yet see. We must be prepared." The queen's gaze was steady. "Preparation is wise, fear is not. We will study them, we will protect them, and we will learn from them. But we will not reject them out of suspicion alone." As the day passed, the palace scientists continued their studies. They discovered that the children had a unique ability. They could sense patterns and connections quickly, almost as if their minds were solving puzzles constantly. When given simple tasks, Aaron and Leora completed them faster than any Vyrlian child of their age. Elder Thalen frowned. "This is unlike anything I have ever seen. They could be dangerous if misused, or they could be incredible allies if guided properly." Liara's heart lifted. "I believe they will be allies. They have courage and creativity. That is the power of humans. Even in the most difficult situations, they find solutions we might not consider." While the scientists worked, the children explored their room. Liara had given them toys and puzzles, but the children were more interested in observing the palace itself. Leora pressed her small hand against the wall and felt the vibrations of energy flowing through it. "It's alive," she said softly. "It is," Liara replied. "Vyrlia is alive in many ways you cannot see yet. It listens to us, reacts to us. We must treat it with respect, and it will reward us." Aaron was more curious about the palace gardens. He peeked through the tall windows and noticed the plants glowing faintly under the sun. "Do all your worlds have glowing plants?" he asked. Liara laughed. "Not all. Some worlds are simple, some are harsh, but every place has life in its own way. The important thing is to notice it." As the days passed, the palace began to settle into a new rhythm. The children learned quickly, adapting to their new surroundings with surprising speed. They discovered they could understand basic Vyrlian speech almost immediately, and their curiosity led them to ask questions that the scientists could not always answer. However, not everyone in the palace welcomed them. Some members of the court whispered behind closed doors. "Why did the princess bring them?" they asked each other. "What is her plan? Can we trust humans?" Varen, the counselor who had warned the queen, was growing more vocal. "These children may appear innocent," he told a small group of advisors, "but the very fact that they are half-human gives them a perspective we cannot predict. We cannot allow their presence to influence our society." But the queen ignored the whispers. She had seen her daughter's courage, and she believed in the goodness of the children. Liara had risked her life to protect them, and that was proof enough that humans had something valuable to offer. One evening, Liara took the children to the observation deck of the palace. From there they could see the entire city stretching for miles beneath them. The twin moons shone brightly in the sky, casting silver light across the streets. "Do you see all of this?" Liara asked. "Every person down there has a story. Every building has a purpose. Every light has meaning, and yet all of it is connected. That is what makes this place strong." Aaron leaned on the railing, his green eyes wide. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Much bigger than our planet." Leora, holding Liara's hand, nodded. "I never imagined something like this could exist." Liara smiled. "And this is only the beginning. There is so much more to see, so much more to learn, and one day you will understand that courage and kindness are stronger than fear." Suddenly, a messenger arrived at the palace, a young Virelian with silver hair and urgent eyes. He bowed before the queen. "Your Majesty, a report from the outer districts. People are gathering. Some are afraid. Some are curious. They demand to see the children." The queen nodded. "Very well, they will see them, but under my guidance. No harm will come to them, and they will know the truth." Liara looked at the children. "Are you ready?" she asked. They nodded, though nervous. She took their hands, and together they walked to the balcony overlooking the courtyard. The crowd below gasped when they saw the human children. Some pointed, some whispered, some smiled. Aaron and Leora waved tentatively, and Liara stepped forward, speaking in her clear voice. "These children are safe. They are my responsibility. They are not enemies. They are part of our family now. We will teach them, and they will teach us. Together we can be stronger than before." The crowd was silent for a moment, absorbing her words. Then slowly applause began, first one person, then many. Hope replaced fear, if only slightly. People realized that the world was changing, and perhaps change could be good. That night, as the children slept in their new rooms, Liara watched over them. She thought about the journey ahead, about the challenges they would face. She knew that some would never accept humans, that some would try to cause trouble. But she also knew that the children were brave, clever, and full of heart. And that, she thought, might be the greatest strength of all. Virelia had opened its doors to the unknown. The future was uncertain, but it was also full of possibility. And for Liara, Aaron, and Leora, the adventure was only beginning. The palace of Virelia gleamed under the light of the twin moons, but shadows moved quietly in places where no light reached. Not all citizens had accepted the human children. Some feared the unknown, while others whispered about dangers the queen refused to see. Among them, a small group of radical council members had formed in secret, plotting to remove the children from the palace by any means necessary. They called themselves the Shadow Faction. Their leader, Zarin, a sharp-eyed Virelian with dark markings across his face, believed that humans could disrupt the delicate balance of Virelian society. "They are clever," he said to his followers in a hidden chamber beneath the city. "Too clever. They do not belong here. If they grow stronger, our entire world could be at risk. We must act." Zarin's group had been watching the children for days. Aaron and Leora were no ordinary humans. They learned quickly, adapted to new situations, and asked questions that revealed a natural curiosity the Virelians had not seen before. The children's energy and intelligence fascinated Zarin, but also terrified him. He could not allow what he called an alien influence to spread among the people. Meanwhile, the palace itself was calm. Liara had been teaching the children about Virelian life. She showed them the gardens, the libraries filled with knowledge, and the shimmering crystal chambers where energy flowed through the walls like rivers of light. Aaron and Leora absorbed everything with wide eyes. "You see," Liara said one evening as they walked through the observation deck, "this planet has a rhythm, a life that connects everything. Humans do not always notice it, but you two do. That is special." Aaron nodded. "We want to help, but some people are afraid of us." Liara smiled. "That is natural. Humans and Virelians see the world differently, but courage is about facing fear, not avoiding it, and you will need courage soon, I think." She did not tell them what she suspected. The Shadow Faction was already moving. They had learned that the children were part human, part of Liara's bloodline, and that the palace relied on the queen's protection. The group planned to infiltrate the palace during the upcoming High Council Assembly, when all leaders would gather to discuss matters of the state. The night before the assembly, Zarin and his followers slipped through hidden tunnels under the palace. Their movements were silent, their intentions clear. They believed that removing the children quickly and secretly would prevent panic among the citizens. If they failed, they knew the queen and Liara would stop them. Back in the palace, the children slept peacefully in their chambers. Aaron had taken to reading a Virelian storybook, trying to understand the strange symbols and images. Leora slept next to Liara, trusting her completely. Liara's mind, however, was alert. She had felt a disturbance, a quiet tension that told her something was wrong. She rose silently, careful not to wake the children, and moved toward the palace corridors. Her senses, trained across distant worlds, picked up faint vibrations. Something unusual was moving beneath the palace, something deliberate. Liara returned to the children. "Stay here," she whispered. "Do not come out until I say so." The next morning, the High Council gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall. The queen sat at the center, flanked by advisors, ministers, and military leaders. Liara entered with the children beside her, introducing them to the council formally. "These are Aaron and Leora," she said. "They are part of our family now. I ask that you respect their presence." Some council members murmured uneasily. Zarin, seated near the back, kept his face calm, hiding the anger behind his eyes. "We will see," he thought. As the assembly began, Aaron and Leora watched closely. They were curious about the council, the tall Virelian speaking in formal tones, and the flow of discussion about trade, energy, and defense. But soon, the discussion was interrupted by a subtle sound, almost like a whisper in the walls. Liara's eyes narrowed. She had felt it before, a disturbance in the palace's energy flow. Someone was here, someone moving with purpose. Suddenly, the doors of the assembly hall slid open. Shadows flickered across the walls as masked figures entered. Zarin and his followers had breached the palace. The council gasped. Guards moved quickly to intercept them, but the intruders were fast, using hidden tools to evade capture. Liara stepped forward, positioning herself between the children and the attackers. "Stay behind me," she commanded. Her voice was calm but strong. "Do not be afraid." Aaron and Leora huddled together, their small hands clutching each other. But then something remarkable happened. Aaron noticed the patterns of movement around him, the guards, the intruders, the flow of the room. He pointed to a series of crystal panels on the walls. "Use them," he shouted. Liara understood immediately. She guided the guards to activate the panels. The energy inside the walls pulsed and created barriers that slowed the intruders. Leora, observing the panels, found a small control lever and nudged it with her tiny hand. The barriers strengthened, forcing Zarin's group back. The council watched in amazement as the children's quick thinking and understanding of patterns helped the palace defend itself. Zarin snarled, realizing that the humans were more than just children. They were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. Liara fought alongside the guards, using her Virelian abilities to create protective shields and push the intruders away. She moved with precision, but it was the children's ingenuity that truly turned the tide. Aaron noticed a series of energy conduits running along the floor. "Divert them," he shouted. Leora helped, pulling levers to redirect the energy. The intruders were trapped, unable to move without triggering alarms or barriers. Zarin's plan had failed. He was captured along with his followers, and the Queen's guards secured the assembly hall. The council erupted into applause and relief. No one was harmed, and the children had played a crucial role in saving everyone. After the chaos, the Queen addressed the council. "Today, we witnessed something remarkable," she said. "These children from another world showed courage, intelligence, and quick thinking. Their presence is not a threat, it is an opportunity. Perhaps the humans can teach us new ways to protect our world, and we can teach them to live among us." Liara knelt beside Aaron and Leora. "You see, courage is not about being fearless. It is about acting wisely when faced with danger. You were brave today." Aaron smiled faintly. "We only wanted to help." "You did more than that," Liara said. "You showed everyone that humans can be strong, clever, and kind. That is what makes your species special." In the days that followed, the Shadow faction was imprisoned, and security throughout the palace was strengthened. But the incident had taught everyone something important. Humans, even small children, had abilities that Virelians could not always predict. Their creativity, intuition, and courage could change the outcome of dangerous situations. The citizens of Virelia, who had once feared the humans, began to see them in a new light. They told stories of the brave children who had helped protect the palace, spreading hope and curiosity. Some even came to visit, bringing gifts and offering friendship. Liara continued to teach the children, preparing them for life on Virelia. She knew the world would not always be safe, but she also knew that Aaron and Leora had already shown what humans could do when they worked together with courage and wisdom. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Liara stood on the observation deck with the children. "You have shown that fear can be faced," she said, "and that courage can come from the smallest of beings, but there is more to learn. The universe is vast, and your journey has only begun." Aaron looked at the moons, then at Liara. "Do you think there are more humans out there like us?" he asked. "I do," Liara replied, "and one day we may meet them, but for now your place is here, helping this world see that humans can be allies, friends, and even heroes." Leora squeezed Liara's hand. "I want to help everyone. I want to show them that humans are not scary." Liara smiled. You already are. Today you proved it. The palace was calm that night, but Liara knew that new challenges would come. The Shadow faction had been stopped, but the universe was full of unknowns. Humans, Virelians, and other species would meet, clash, and learn. And through it all, courage, ingenuity, and kindness would always be the greatest weapons. As the children drifted to sleep, Liara looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast and full of mysteries. She felt hope for the future, hope that humans and Virelians could work together, face dangers, and discover wonders beyond imagination. And deep in the shadows, Zarin and his followers plotted, but now they knew they could not underestimate the children, or the courage of a human heart. Change had arrived on Virelia, and it would not be stopped. The days following the failed Shadow faction attack were tense but hopeful. The palace of Virelia buzzed with energy, as if the walls themselves were alive with new possibilities. Citizens had begun to understand the value of the human children, and the council started discussing plans to include them more in palace life. Liara took Aaron and Leora through lessons that went beyond normal schooling. They were learning about Virelian science, the flow of energy through the city, and the responsibilities of leadership. But most importantly, Liara was teaching them courage, empathy, and problem-solving, the traits that humans naturally possessed, and that made them extraordinary. One morning, as the sun's silver light filled the palace gardens, a messenger arrived with urgent news. "Your Majesty, there is a disturbance at the edge of the city," the messenger said, bowing. "A group of rogue ships has appeared in Virelian space. They demand access to our energy cores, or they threaten to attack." The queen rose immediately, her eyes sharp. "Alert the council. Mobilize the defenders. Liara, gather the children. They must stay safe, but I want you ready to act if needed." Liara nodded, taking Aaron and Leora by the hands. "We will be careful," she said, "but we will also help. Humans can solve problems in ways you do not always expect." In the council chamber, the advisors debated the best course of action. Some argued for negotiation, others for immediate defense, but Liara proposed a new idea. "The humans can help us," she said. "They see patterns and possibilities that we may overlook. Let us listen to them." Aaron, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. "We can find a way to stop them without fighting," he said. "We just need to understand how their ships move and how they think." Leora nodded in agreement. "We can help the Virelians see a solution they may not see themselves." The council was surprised. Humans were small, yet they spoke with clarity and confidence. The queen smiled. "Very well, let us try their approach." The palace scientists and engineers worked with Aaron and Leora to analyze the incoming ships. They discovered that the invaders relied on predictable energy pulses to navigate space. Aaron noticed that if the signals were disrupted, the ships could be confused without being damaged. Leora suggested using a series of energy reflectors placed around the city to create a controlled feedback loop. The council debated the plan. "It is risky," one advisor said. "If it fails, we could provoke an attack." Liara looked at the children. "They understand the risk. And they have thought carefully. Trust them." The preparations began immediately. Reflectors were placed on rooftops, walls, and along the energy conduits. The palace guards trained to support the plan, but they were amazed at how the children coordinated the effort, pointing out patterns and making quick calculations. Their approach was unlike anything the Virelians had done before. When the rogue ships appeared on the horizon, the city was ready. Liara, Aaron, and Leora stood at the observation deck, watching the invaders approach. The children's hearts pounded, but their determination was stronger than fear. "Remember," Liara whispered, "we are not attacking, we are protecting. Focus on strategy, not conflict." Aaron and Leora nodded. At the precise moment, Leora signaled the reflectors. Energy pulses bounced through the city, creating interference that confused the invaders' navigation systems. The rogue ships wobbled in space, unable to maintain formation. Aaron shouted directions to the palace guards, guiding them to adjust the pulses in real time. The invaders tried to respond, but every movement was anticipated. The feedback loop created by the children's calculations forced the ships to drift away, unable to reach the city or its energy cores. The council and citizens watched in awe. Humans, small and seemingly fragile, had prevented a disaster without a single shot fired. The queen's heart swelled with pride. "You see," she said to the council, Strength comes in many forms. Courage, intelligence, and ingenuity are just as powerful as weapons. After the rogue ships retreated, Liara embraced the children. "You did it," she said. "You saved the city." Aaron smiled, exhausted but proud. "We just wanted to help," Liara added, "and we did." The queen addressed the city from the palace balcony. "Today, we have learned a valuable lesson. Courage is not always about fighting. Wisdom and creativity can triumph over force. These children from another world have shown us the power of cooperation. Let us remember that strength is not just in our abilities, but in how we work together." The citizens cheered. For the first time, humans were truly accepted as part of Violia. Stories of the children's bravery spread through the streets, inspiring hope and admiration. But Liara knew that this victory was only one step. The galaxy was vast, and threats would continue to appear. She spent the next days training the children, helping them refine their abilities and teaching them Violian strategies. The children, in turn, shared ideas from their own world, simple yet effective ways to solve complex problems, ways that combined human creativity with Violian precision. One afternoon, while walking in the palace gardens, Liara spoke to the children about leadership. "True leaders are not only brave," she said. "They listen, they think, and they act with care. You have already shown these qualities. One day you may lead not only Violians but humans too, in ways we cannot yet imagine." Aaron looked thoughtful. "Do you think humans and Violians can really work together, even with so many differences?" Liara smiled. "I do. Today proved it, and tomorrow we will prove it again. Differences are not weaknesses, they are opportunities. Together we are stronger." As the weeks passed, the children became symbols of hope and unity. They worked alongside Violians in the palace, solving problems, assisting in planning, and demonstrating the value of collaboration. Citizens visited to learn from them, fascinated by the new perspective humans brought to their world. Even the council began to see the value of human insight. Varen, who had once opposed the children, admitted quietly, "Their perspective, it is unlike anything we expected. Perhaps there is wisdom in their ways." Liara observed these changes with quiet satisfaction. The palace was becoming a place where humans and Violians could learn from each other, where courage and creativity were celebrated. But she also knew that the universe was unpredictable and new challenges were always waiting. One night, as the twins watched the stars from the observation deck, Liara asked, "Do you think more humans will come?" Liara nodded. "I believe so, and when they do, we will be ready. We will show them that Violia is a world where humans can thrive, learn, and be part of something greater." Aaron leaned against her shoulder. "I like it here. It feels like we belong." Liara smiled. "You do belong. And your courage has shown everyone here that belonging is not about where you come from. It is about what you do and the heart you bring." The following days brought new responsibilities. The queen asked Liara and the children to assist with interplanetary negotiations. Humans, with their fresh perspective and courage, were able to mediate conflicts and propose solutions that even experienced Violians had overlooked. During one negotiation, a neighboring planet demanded additional energy from Violia. The council was unsure how to respond, fearing conflict. Aaron suggested a simple compromise: provide temporary energy while teaching the neighboring planet to manage its resources more efficiently. Liara added an idea to improve energy storage, so no one would lose power. The solution worked perfectly. Both planets celebrated, and Violia's reputation as a fair and intelligent world grew. The children's insight had prevented war and created new alliances. The queen, observing these successes, finally turned to Liara. "You were right. Humans are not a threat, they are a gift. Your children have brought wisdom, courage, and hope to this world." Liara bowed her head. "It is their own courage that shines, Mother. I only guided them." The children, tired but happy, slept that night knowing they had made a real difference. Their actions had proven that humans could be heroes not just with strength, but with intelligence, creativity, and heart. And Liara knew that the future would hold more challenges. But with humans and Violians working together, there was no danger they could not face. Together, they were stronger than any threat, wiser than any enemy, and braver than any fear. As the twin moons rose over the palace, their silver light reflected in the children's eyes. The city of Violia was alive with hope, and somewhere deep in the stars, Liara felt the pull of new adventures waiting for them all. The alliance between humans and Violians had been tested, and it had triumphed. The palace of Vyrlia had never felt so alive. Its towers gleamed under the twin moons, and the city below buzzed with energy, hope, and excitement. Liara, Aaron, and Leora walked through the gardens, surrounded by flowers that glowed softly in the night. The air smelled sweet with alien blooms, and the energy of the planet seemed to hum gently around them. It was a world of possibilities, a world that was now theirs to protect and nurture. Since the incident with the rogue ships, much had changed. The children had become symbols of courage and ingenuity. Citizens visited the palace to learn from them, eager to hear their ideas and see how humans and Vyrlians could work together. Even the council had begun to respect the children's insights, realizing that humans were not just fragile beings. They were clever, brave, and capable of amazing things. One morning, the queen called a special assembly. The council, citizens, and palace guards gathered in the grand hall, curious about the announcement. Liara and the children stood beside her, aware that today would be important for the future of Vyrlia. The queen rose from her throne, her silver hair catching the morning light. "People of Vyrlia," she began, "today marks a turning point in our history. We have faced challenges, dangers, and fear. And through it all, we have learned something vital. Strength does not belong to one species, one mind, or one way of thinking. Strength belongs to those who are brave enough to embrace the unknown and wise enough to work together." She gestured toward the children. "These young humans, Aaron and Leora, have shown courage, intelligence, and creativity beyond their years. They have taught us that differences are not weaknesses, they are opportunities. Today we declare a new era of openness, cooperation, and learning. From this day forward, Vyrlia will welcome new ideas, new worlds, and new friends." The hall erupted in applause. Citizens cheered, and the council members, some still hesitant, nodded in agreement. The queen's words were clear. The era of fear and suspicion was over. A new chapter had begun. Liara knelt beside the children. "Do you see what you've done?" she asked softly. "You've changed this world." Aaron's green eyes sparkled. "We only helped." "You helped more than you know," Liara said. "You've shown everyone here that humans can be heroes, not just with strength, but with heart and mind." Leora smiled, feeling proud. "It feels good," she said. "Like we belong." "You do belong," Liara replied, "and today everyone knows it." After the assembly, the queen and Liara walked through the city with the children. Citizens approached, eager to greet them. Some brought gifts, small creations, or tools from their workshops. Others simply bowed in respect, offering words of encouragement. A young engineer approached Aaron and Leora, holding a small device. "I tried to improve the energy reflectors you helped design," he said. "I think you'll like it." Aaron examined it carefully. "This is clever," he said. "You've added a feedback loop that improves stability." The engineer smiled. "I learned from you," Leora beamed. "See, humans can teach Vyrlians, and Vyrlians can teach humans. We can all learn from each other." Liara watched this exchange with pride. It was a small moment, but it symbolized something larger, the blending of two worlds, two species, and two ways of thinking. Cooperation had proven stronger than fear. That evening, the queen invited the children to a special dinner in the palace hall. The tables were filled with delicacies from Vyrlia, foods the children had never tasted before. As they ate, the queen spoke with Liara privately. "You were right," the queen said. "Humans are extraordinary. Their courage, their heart, their creativity, it is unlike anything I have ever seen. They belong here." Liara smiled. "It was never about proving them right or wrong. It was about showing them the world can be bigger than fear, and they did that themselves." Meanwhile, Aaron and Leora wandered to a balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons reflected on the rooftops and streets, creating a silver map of the city below. "Do you think humans can live on other worlds too?" Leora asked, her eyes wide. Liara nodded. "I do. Humans can adapt, learn, and survive almost anywhere, and when they work with others, their courage and ingenuity can make a real difference." Aaron leaned on the railing. "I think I want to see more worlds. I want to help others like we helped Vyrlia." Liara smiled. "And you will, but for now, this is your home. This is the place where you learned courage, wisdom, and cooperation. One day, you'll carry that with you to the stars." The next days were filled with planning. The queen asked Liara and the children to help create programs that would bring humans and Vyrlians together. Schools, workshops, and laboratories were established where both species could learn from one another. Citizens volunteered to participate, eager to discover the ways humans thought and solved problems. Aaron and Leora thrived in these programs. They taught problem-solving, creative thinking, and teamwork. Violian children who had once been suspicious now eagerly participated, learning new ways to see challenges and solutions. One afternoon, while exploring the palace library, Leora found an old star map. "Liara, look at this," she said. "These stars, some of them are near human worlds. Maybe we can visit them one day." Liara's eyes sparkled. "Yes, Leora, one day we will explore them, but first we must make Violia strong and united. This world can be a home for many, and we will show others how cooperation can create peace." Aaron studied the map carefully. "We can plan missions, learn about new planets, and maybe even meet other humans. We can help them like we were helped." The Queen watched their excitement and thought about the future. Humans had brought hope, courage, and creativity to Violia. The children had proven that even small beings could inspire change, and the alliances they had created would last for generations. A festival was organized to celebrate the new era. Citizens filled the streets, music played, and lights shimmered across the city. Liara walked with the children, greeting everyone. Aaron and Leora laughed as they tried foods they had never tasted and joined games that mixed Violian traditions with new human ideas. The Queen gave a speech that night, her voice echoing across the city. "Tonight, we celebrate not just the return of a princess, but the arrival of a new future. A future where humans and Violians can work together, learn together, and face challenges together. Let this be the beginning of a world where courage, wisdom, and heart guide our path." The crowd cheered, and Aaron and Leora waved proudly. For the first time, they felt fully part of something bigger than themselves. They were not just children from another world. They were heroes, teachers, and symbols of hope. Later, Liara took the children to the observation deck. They looked at the stars, imagining the worlds they could explore. "Do you think we'll really visit them?" Aaron asked. Liara nodded. "I believe so. The universe is vast, and there are many who need help, many who need courage. But no matter where we go, we will carry what we learned here: cooperation, wisdom, and bravery." Leora smiled, holding Liara's hand. "I feel ready for anything." "You are ready," Liara said. "Because you are human, and humans are capable of extraordinary things. You have shown us that even small beings can change the course of history." That night, as the city of Violia glowed beneath the twin moons, peace settled over the palace. Citizens returned to their homes with hope in their hearts. The children slept, dreaming of stars and adventures yet to come. And Liara stood watch, knowing that the bonds formed here would last a lifetime. The Queen approached her daughter and whispered, "You have given our world a gift that cannot be measured. You and these children have created a new era, one of courage, unity, and hope." Liara smiled, looking out at the city. "The future belongs to those willing to embrace it. And with humans and Violians working together, there is no limit to what we can achieve." The twin moons reflected in the windows of the palace, and a soft breeze carried the promise of a bright tomorrow. Change had come to Violia, and it had come not through fear, power, or violence, but through courage, intelligence, and heart. The galaxy was vast and full of mysteries, but for the first time, Liara, Aaron, and Leora knew that they could face anything. Together, humans and Violians would explore, protect, and build a future where hope and courage would always shine brighter than fear. Violia had entered a new era, and the story of humans and Violians working together would echo through the stars for generations to come.